Hello, good evening, and welcome to this sketchbook tour video. Last time I showed you my sketchbook, the Brunote. If you missed it, I'll link the video here. Today's video is a bit special. I've released a coloring book that's available in all bookstores, Fnac, Cultura, and on Amazon. The link is in the description, and I'm going to show you a lot of the coloring pages inside. I won't show you everything to avoid spoilers, but I'll share some coloring pages I've started or finished, and maybe a few inspirations. Let's go. Blah, blah, blah. Hello? There was a small problem. I was so energetic banging on the table that I unplugged the microphone. Let's start this coloring book with the title, Add the Color. Add the color? Why? Because you're the one who adds it. That's it. You add the color. First page, I welcome you to my coloring book. You can rate my singing skills in the comments out of 40,012 if you want. Next page. So first page, actually one of my favorite coloring pages. But actually, I haven't colored it yet, and why not color it either live on Twitch or in a video? If you want to see this coloring page in color, let me know in the comments. Next page. This one is also one of my favorite coloring pages. It was one of the first. It's simply a reproduction of Twitch's visual identity. If any of you recognize the waiting screen before the stream starts, at the end of the stream, or during breaks, it's actually these little drawings that I redrew a bit more neatly to be included in this coloring book. Next page. So it looks like I haven't colored anything in this coloring book, but don't worry, that's coming a bit later. This was the first animal I started drawing for this coloring book. You'll see, because there are a lot of animals that were drawn for this book, and this is one that I drew live on Twitch with an animal that's ooh. And most of the animals drawn in this book are actually all stretched out in every direction like this. A nature scene. There you go. I don't have much more to say. Next page. Here's one that's colored but not quite finished because, well, I got lazy. I should really start doing live coloring sessions again. If you like that, why not start again with this coloring of a flamingo that's completely distorted in every direction this time. And by the way, there's a little Easter egg with this coloring. If you follow the path of the flamingo here, hop, you get here, bam, you keep following, bam here, bam there. You go to the top right, then top left, it's all over. You end up at the head and can see I missed a part. Yes, because this part here, tap, 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 isn't connected to anything. So it's not a mistake, it's meant to be odd. I actually find it funny. Next page. Color this drawing in 15 minutes because yes, inside this coloring book, I had fun adding little guidelines, constraints, or instructions for doing the coloring. So, for example, this one, you have to do it in 15 minutes. And you'll see, as a result, that throughout the book, there are about 15 instructions like this. Why did I add instructions? First, so that you get out of your comfort zone a little bit. So, doing this one in 15 minutes is really very quick. And also, so you don't waste the coloring pages. This way you can use alcohol markers. And you see, you might ruin the back page, which has an instruction but not a coloring page, so you can use alcohol markers. Next page, well, it's a dolphin. Do a double page spread. There you go. Next page. This is the illustration I did a little earlier as a poster in A3 format for my previous art book in 2023, I think. Something like that. 2023, no. 2024, 2023. And I like this illustration so much that I thought I would redraw it to include it in the coloring book so you could color it in. The flamingos, however you want. By the way, I saw people on social media who posted their coloring of this one absolutely incredible. There was one who did it in a galaxy theme, for example. Really, it was so cool. And this one is a coloring I did in a workshop I organized for a signing session at Cultura in Mulhouse. It was really great. There were about 15 spots and everyone loved it. It was really nice to be able to meet you and at the same time do a creative activity all together. Next page then, there are some coloring pages that are a little more abstract sometimes. Honestly, Midori was really a pain to outline. Next page. And here, I want to tell you that this is a really good technique if you ever want to color without necessarily spending a lot of time. Well, you just make little squiggles like this, some hatching, some doodles inside with different colors while trying to stick to a certain color palette by limiting yourself to certain colors. So here, for example, I only use fairly warm colors, except for the blue, which I use for the clouds. Even though it's not colored in very carefully, honestly, I think the result isn't bad at all. What do you think? Next page, and here, this one was colored much more carefully, you'll see. Ta-da, ta-da. This double page was the first drawing I did for this coloring book. It's clear it's a lot of work since the final project came out in early 2025, almost a year's effort. It's a drawing that took me about 3 to 4 hours, so that's about how long each page took me. And so it's entirely drawn with markers that are a bit inspired by Posca, but they're acrylic brush tip markers. And in the end, it goes over the coloring outlines, so I thought I would go over them again with Posca this time to be a little more precise. But not in black, but with colors inspired by the drawing, so that means brown for the guitar and dark purple for the skeleton. Next page, go to a park to do this coloring. There you go. Come on, move. Go to a park. Come on, ouch pop. Next page. Wow, the beautiful double page. This one. I really love it, honestly, because I really got into the coloring with markers. So there you go. Even with kids' markers. Here, I think it was with markers that cost €5 a box at Monoprix, Auchan, Leclerc, or whatever. You see, you can get great coloring results with markers. You really don't need to go for high quality. A lot of people tell me, yeah, but I don't have markers. I have these fancy alcohol-based markers, Posca and all that. No, you don't need that. You can use kids' markers. It works just fine. And on top of that, you can see it doesn't bleed through at all. It didn't ruin the coloring on the other side. I also think this coloring can be good inspiration for the background. The background, it's important not to leave it completely white, but you don't need to color the whole background. Here, for example, it's an octopus living in the sea. I thought, why not make some bubbles, but not necessarily in the colors you'd expect for bubbles. Next page, you have to go outside the lines on this coloring page. In the end, it's really the only one where I followed my own instructions. There are plenty where I gave you little instructions, but there are also plenty that I wanted to color myself, but without necessarily following the instructions, and honestly, that was really fun to do. Next page, the galaxy. Well, I didn't do it. Next page, I skipped a page. That's normal. Once again, I'm not spoiling all the coloring pages in this coloring book for you. It's up to you to get it if you want to see them all. Color this drawing with hatching. And that's what I did. I used hatching. I saw a lot of people on social media doing this coloring page. My little nephew did it too. If you want to do hatching, try to be pretty consistent with your hatching and especially make them close together. The more compact your hatching is, the more you'll see what color it is. If you make them really far apart, it'll just look like lines actually. That's not hatching. After that, hatching can also be done in a lot of different ways. There are all kinds of different types. You can make small hatch marks like this. There you go. There you go. There you go. Then there's also cross hatching. So basically you do 3, then 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 you do 3 or 4 or 3 or 4. So you see, then you can simply cross them but in a more regular way. There you go. Or you can make them much more cross hatched, you know? So you put them once in this direction, once in that direction, and again in this direction. And you see that you have different levels of intensity with one layer of hatching like this, then another like this, and another like this. And then you can even add more hatching, and there you go. That allows you to have different levels of intensity, or even to layer hatching of different colors. If you want, for example, to make light hatching and then add in another direction dark hatching. That allows you to basically create a new color. You see that the transition between this color, and this color, it's 3 different colors. So by layering hatching of different colors, you get a third color without having used a third marker. So there you go, guys. Vary the hatching on your illustration. That's exactly why I advised you to do hatching. And it can add a lot more dynamism and life to your drawing. Next page. What is it? Can you tell? Next page. Again, I'm only showing one of the 2 drawings. Why? Because this one doesn't really have spoilers. It's simply the drawing from the cover illustration. I think I'll draw this one because it's also one of my favorites. There's a reason it ended up on the cover after all. Next page. So here, you can see that it only uses 2 complementary colors, where I didn't really follow my own instructions in the end. I wrote here, use a color wheel to help yourself. A color wheel is this. So it allows you to know which color is complementary to another. Complementary colors are the ones that are opposite each other on the color wheel. For example, here, purple is the complementary color of yellow. Green is the complementary color of red. Orange is the complementary color of blue. And so on, using this color wheel to help you. That was the project. The first coloring I did for my coloring book that I made live on Twitch. Honestly, I really enjoyed that one. It took me about 3 hours using colored pencils, except for the frame, which I did with watercolor because it was faster. And here, these are the Chinese characters from my stamp that I often put on the original illustrations you order from the Bruno Graffa shop. I'll put the link in the description in case you want to buy my drawings, and I'll let you try to find out what the Chinese translation of this stamp means. Next page. Next page. A chemistry. A chemistry. Anyway, next page. These are pages where I was lazy. There you go. No, I'm kidding. The idea is mainly to try to boost your imagination. So that means here I write let your imagination speak. Right away, you notice that the lettering is outlined. So that means you can also color the page with the text. And basically, it's like trying to see what's inside a stain. When you look at clouds, they take the shape of something. An elephant with big ears, and you have a space battle against an alien. Anyway, I don't know. And here, it's the same thing. You try to see a little bit what's there, what you can see inside. One technique is to look from a distance and squint your eyes. You squint your eyes like this. Okay, I see. That will make the strong lines stand out. I didn't make these drawings to look like anything at all. They're really things that are completely abstract and I don't know what could be inside. So it's up to you to try drawing whatever you want. Next page, a burger, eat. But of course, I didn't want to do it with the colors of a burger, so it's a burger with red bread, blue tomatoes, yellow lettuce, red cheddar, a blue patty. It's well done. No, actually, it's not well done. It's rare, you know? Purple bread, yellow tomatoes, well, actually, those exist. Red lettuce, that exists too. Blue cheddar, I'm not sure that exists. Maybe blue cheese. No, well, anyway. And a yellow patty. Let's say it's a soy patty. It's undercooked. Anyway. And purple bread? I don't know what kind. But anyway, I really enjoyed making this one. And you really liked the colors I made live on Twitch too. It was really funny to do. Next page. These are color inspirations that I made for you. So here, I just wrote color inspiration. That's it, simply. But in the following pages, these are coloring pages that I colored directly with the coloring book. So that means you receive the coloring book with these colored pages inside here to give you some little inspirations. With, for example, this one that I did directly with watercolor. And then other color inspirations that I put inside the coloring book for you to give you, why not, some ideas that aren't necessarily related to the coloring book. Next page. I think I totally lost it there. This was a video to show you that you don't literally have to follow all the rules that might be imposed on you, whether it's through coloring or drawing in general. If you feel like going over the lines, do it. If you want to write things on top, do it. If you feel like scribbling completely over a color and totally covering up the coloring, do it. If you feel like adding glued on pieces of paper on top of your coloring, do it. If you want to draw a background but not the whole thing, do it. Do whatever you want. The coloring book, guys, is only 15 euros for 77 pages to color, so you have plenty to have fun and enjoy yourself with. At least, I think so anyway. Knowing that, even after completely messing up this page, it didn't go through at all, I was about to say not at all, because I used some pretty intense markers. You don't have to use markers that intense. But whether it's with oil pastels, Posca markers, or collages, nothing went through to the other side. Use paint for this coloring? Well, in the end, I didn't do it. I also recommend using different tools. In this coloring book, you can use colored pencils, oil pastels, chalk, watercolor, acrylic paint, Posca markers, and alcohol-based markers. You can use everything except, well, alcohol-based markers will bleed through, so be careful with what's on the next page. Or you can also put a sheet of paper between your coloring and the next page to prevent it from bleeding. Next page. I'm skipping 2 more pages so I don't spoil the coloring book too much for you. Here we have this coloring page drawn with patterns. Once again, I didn't follow my own instructions, but as I mentioned earlier, you can use watercolor paint. Here's an example of a coloring done with watercolor paint. I thought it worked really well on this coloring of the toucan because, well, a toucan is a really colorful bird. Next page. This is one of my favorite coloring pages, this double page with the jellyfish. It gave me a hard time because of the tentacles, figuring out which one goes over which and so on. Anyway, it was a real mess, honestly. If you ever want to see how I did this coloring, I made a YouTube channel called Bruno Graffeur Live But Not Live, where I put all the replays of the live streams, including the ones I did live on Twitch. And this one was one of them. So there's a live replay available. I'll put the link to that YouTube channel with the live replays in the description of this video. Next page, this one is also one of the first colorings. This coloring page I made for this book to convince the publishing house that it was a good idea to make a coloring book, and I recommend you use only blues. Well, for a shark, let's say it works well. Next page. Yeah, there you go, candies. I have an anecdote. It was done in the car during a road trip I took in Italy last summer. So there you go. I don't know if that's useless information. But anyway, that was the anecdote about this coloring book, which I worked on a little bit throughout my travels, my events, and so on, because I had to work, you know. Next page. This is my tattoo. Look, the tattoo I have right here, which is a tiger with the head of Felix the cat, done by the tattoo artist named Pierre Reb, whom I credited right here. I asked him if I could use his tattoo, change it a little bit so I could put it in my coloring book. And here it is. Next page on this one. Live on Twitch, I wanted to draw your first names. I was randomly picking first names from the chat and adding them to a coloring book page. Next page. This one's pretty gross, but there's something here. It's like you have a beetle to color on and you went like kind of like taxidermy style. Honestly, I really love this one. Next page. No green allowed. Nope, you're not allowed to use green. First, because I don't really like green in general, and also because for a turtle, tell me in the comments, but I think most of you would have done it either in brown or in green, or both. Once again, I want to push you out of your comfort zone and tell you no, you can't use green for this one and you have to use other colors. Make me a super colorful turtle. I'm sure it can look much nicer than if you do it in green. Then again, maybe I'm a little biased because I don't like green. Next page. I'm skipping another page so I don't spoil all the coloring pages for you. And don't be jealous. Buy this coloring book, come on. That way you can see them all and even color them. Next page. Colored like a child would. So yes, I did follow that instruction a little bit, but using a particular material. They're water-soluble wax pastels, the Neo colors from Caran d'Ache. Honestly, I really love them. I thought, why not try coloring it, but without following the rule that says like this shape has to be this color, and by trying to mix a little bit of every color everywhere. Next page. A beautiful double page with lots of doodles that kind of interact with each other. On each of these two double pages, there are a lot of references to my various projects. I invite you to try to guess them all in the comments of this video. I'll give you one. For example, here, it's the jacket in blue. In blue, why? Because it was made from IKEA bags. And yes, that was a project I released in collaboration. With the TikToker Milan Amarello, we bought IKEA bags to make a jacket that I still have. And I invite you to go check it out in the video on my social media. It's a coloring project that we started live on Twitch. But it was with watercolor and it took a huge amount of time. And I think it already took me about 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. Anyway, it was too long and it made me a bit discouraged. And I never finished. Next page, we're skipping more pages. Don't be jealous. We get to this page that was colored by my intern. My intern's mission was to make a video to share the coloring book. I gave him the coloring book for the evening. It was up to him to try coloring. There you go. And honestly, guys, he really got into it. Even using green, well, it works. You see? We're surprised. So what can I show you next? There are still a few little pages I can show you before the end of the video. It's this one. This is the page that took me the most work with this skeleton dragon, which I totally love on a huge double page like this. Honestly, it's my favorite coloring in this coloring book, at least among the double pages. I really want to try coloring it. And if you want to challenge yourself to color it, because honestly, I think this one is a real piece of work. Try to do it not in the colors you would usually consider for a skeleton. You know, like with beiges, browns, grays, and so on. But try to do it with some really bright, vibrant colors. It would make me even happier to see the result. If you ever want to give it a try, I told you this is the coloring that took me the most time. I think we're at about 5 or 6 hours of work for this complete double page. Next page, I love pizza. I had to draw pizzas in this coloring book. It's a pizza invasion. Eggs, lots and lots. There are some with eggs, some with eggs, some with eggs, some with eggs, some with chorizo, with eggs again, with chorizo. Did you figure out what my favorite flavor is? My favorite flavor? What's my favorite pizza? Anyway, here you go. You have to color with your other hand. Why not try it live on Twitch? Are you interested? Next coloring page. The special battle, space battle. With some pretty basic markers and colored a bit randomly. This one took me about half an hour, maybe an hour, something like that. And I'm pretty happy with the result. Tell me what you think. And now we come to the last page. This is where I tested the difference between Posca markers, which I think you all know, and some acrylic markers I found online for 12 euros for a box of 24, so that means 50 cents per marker, and honestly, not bad at all. The acrylic markers are really very cool. However, there are still a few flaws, of course. Markers at that price, you can imagine they're not exactly top quality. First of all, the tip wears out pretty quickly, and also, they have a much shorter lifespan than a Posca. But honestly, I just wanted to give you this little comparison, and I really want to compare them with other techniques and other tools. Why not try watercolor pencils and watercolor crayons and watercolor, acrylic paint, oil pastels and colored pencils, different brands of colored pencils, different brands of markers. Anyway, if you want to see several tests, let me know in the comments which test you would be interested in seeing on this coloring book. In the meantime, I'll say it again, it's available in all the bookstores near you, at Fnac, at Cultura, and on Amazon. There's a link in the description to see which nearby bookstores still have it, since many are out of stock, thanks to everyone who orders. Don't hesitate to share your coloring pages with the hashtag that's written at the end of the coloring book, and to tag me, I'll go check them out. We'll do a big live stream where we'll look at all your drawings. So, thank you very much to everyone who gets this sketch coloring kit or who orders drawings or the art book from my Brunographer shop, because once again, this video isn't sponsored, so that's what keeps the channel going. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and comment. Bye, kisses.